In the PC gaming world, the Logitech G502 Lightspeed is by far considered to be the king when it comes to gaming mice, with a legendary feature set and also a legendary high price for a computer mouse. And all of that got me wondering, is this thing really worth that giant price tag, or is it just an overpriced gimmicky piece of garbage? Well, it's overpriced alright, but that doesn't mean you should dismiss it just yet. Let's start by going with exactly why this thing is so legendary in the first place. Well, there is quite a few good reasons for it, starting with, of course, the lack of a wire. Now, wireless mice are nothing new. However, in the land of PC gaming, they haven't been really becoming that common, and there's two main reasons for that. Number one is latency, which is very important, as you can imagine, to PC gaming. Now, I'm one of the worst people to ask about latency, because apparently stuff like VSync is supposed to increase it, yet in my case it never did, nor did I even see any increase in latency when I hooked up my gaming PC to my TV downstairs and played stuff on there, and apparently that's supposed to bring a giant latency penalty, so I'm definitely not a person to ask about it. However, the consensus is that with this mouse, finally, there's no noticeable difference between a wired and wireless version. Next up is the Logitech 16K sensor, one of the most advertised things about this mouse. And like with pretty much any promotional material for a mouse, it's definitely way overblown seeing how much difference the sensor makes. No normal person will be able to tell the difference between the quality of one sensor over the other. But what also makes this one here stand out is that, as it's in its namesake, it can reach a DPI of up to 16K. So, if it's so good, let's give it a try. Okay, I don't know how anyone who is not a Jedi can play at 16K, but if you can, more power to you. And there's probably quite a few people out there who are in the market for essentially turning every single game into one of the hardest reflex simulators in the history of the world. Now let's talk about what's one of the most important things to most people when it comes to mouse choice. The feeling of it. And this mouse is designed to be both stylish and profiled in such a way that your hand will essentially never become uncomfortable. My relatively small hands fit perfectly on it, and I gotta say, I never had any kind of issues with it, apart from ones that are probably just my own style of gaming, because I'm someone who prefers to play at extremely low sensitivities and DPIs, and also move the mouse as little as possible, and also have the mouse as heavy as possible. And that's another thing where this mouse really comes through. What's really interesting is that normally you'd think that a wireless mouse is probably going to be a bit heavier than a wired mouse because of, you know, the expanded battery and whatever else. However, this is actually lighter than the wired G502 Hero, with that one being 121 grams, with this being only 114 grams. So still kind of heavy for a mouse, or in my personal preference, pretty perfect for a mouse. But for those of you who want to make it even heavier, don't worry, there is a solution. You can increase its weight up to 16 grams using the included 4 2-gram weights and 2 4-gram weights. Additionally, they're very nicely spaced out in the mouse, so it's not like one side of the mouse is becoming way heavier than any other. Another thing I really want to talk about here is exactly how elegant it all is, even down to the weights. The way you can close the compartment in using a nicely magneticized piece of plastic, the way that even the second compartment they're in is fully magnetic, to the way you even get a special little box designed for holding all your weights. Everything about it just screams quality and a high level of detail to pretty much everything. Apart from maybe the weights themselves, which kind of smell and leave your hands smelling like the miner who dug up the metal to create them. When it comes to gaming, it really is a treat, especially with its on-the-go DPI adjustments, a feature that I don't personally use a lot, but I know many will love. On top of that, DPI can be very easily adjusted using the Logitech G software, meaning that you're never stuck with the wrong settings for too long. So it's all very easy to create the perfect balance of DPI and mouse weight to suit your gaming needs. Also in the Logitech G Hub, you can select all your macros and mess around with all your different programmable buttons, which I gotta say, I was almost disappointed at. Everywhere I looked, they promoted this as being a mouse with 11 programmable buttons, and I originally thought it would almost look like something ridiculous like this Corsair mouse, but when I looked at images of the mouse, I never really seen those buttons, so I thought, you know, maybe they're just nicely hidden throughout the mouse. But it turns out that they count stuff like your left click and your right click as programmable buttons, which is like, they're your left click and your right click. What are you supposed to program them to other than left click and right click? So maybe a tiny bit of misleading, but you still have plenty of buttons to play around with. And they can be set to pretty much anything. You can even set them up to change your mouse's DPI to specific presets, or even launch applications. Issue is that some of them, or rather most of them, aren't that easy to access, usually making you move your hand in uncomfortable places, or having you completely forget one of the most important buttons, the left click, for a few seconds just to press a button, which is kind of annoying. So in games, I pretty much only use 2 of the buttons, because there's only 2 I consider to be easy enough to reach to be good in games. Now let's talk about one of the major downsides of this mouse, the price. This is a $150 mouse. It is huge compared to the $80 the G502 Hero is priced at instead. Now, however, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Apart from, you know, just the price being killer, there are a few other problems. Primarily is that the left and right click have this really ugly double click when you really press down hard on it, which you usually do when you just, you know, hold it for an extended period of time, which you happen to do quite a lot on a PC. Additionally, there are 2 different modes for the wheel, one ultra fast and one slow down. Issue is that the slow down is mechanical, meaning that when you want to use it at a speed that's actually usable, because the normal fast speed for the wheel is barely usable, you get this extremely loud and annoying clicking noise. So that leads to the question of, is it worth it? Now, when choosing PC components or peripherals, I have this philosophy. I usually like to spend just that bit more, just so, you know, I have peace of mind for a bit longer, and so I have all the features I could ever want. Because after all, it'd be more expensive to first buy one thing and then buy the better thing soon afterwards than just buying the better thing in the first place. But this mouse almost breaks this philosophy for me, because even though it is great, I can get pretty much everything it offers with the G502 Hero for like half the price. But I bought it anyway, and am I glad I did? Well, yes. In this case, that one more thing that makes it better is the fact that it's wireless. And I didn't realize how much I wanted a wireless mouse compared to my wired one, which I've been using up to this point. However, it's something that, at the best of times, you really can't imagine living without, but at the worst of times, you'll just notice no difference. So, the ball is in your court. If you want to have it all, then I highly recommend this mouse. If you don't, then the G502 Hero is more than enough. Because right now, you'll be paying a pretty penny just to essentially do this. Even if the Lightspeed version is not for you, the Hero is still a really good choice that I would recommend to anyone, unless you just really hate heavy mice. The Lightspeed version, although harder to recommend, I still keep to my philosophy, and I think it was still really worth it, even if it's just to show off that you can afford the gaming mouse for the 1%. So forgive me for a second while I'll go away and just cry over how much money I just spent on a gaming mouse. However, there's something you can do to make me cry less about it, and that is supporting the channel on Patreon. It is linked down below, and even $1 a month goes a long way in making stuff like this thing more affordable for me to review on the channel. Also, you get awesome perks like being shouted out at the end of my videos, and also more awesome stuff to come as the channel continues to grow. Also, I'd like to really thank my Patreon Barrel for having the channel. Thank you ever so much. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to subscribe, like, whatever, and I'll see you all in what I'll make next. Goodbye everyone. Goodbye.